Hello, and welcome to Baseline Beatnik. I am your host for Let's Talk Boobies with Brandi Fries. I am Brandi Fries, and I'm going to do a breakdown / review of the now Oscar-nominated film Nightmare Alley. So I'm super excited about this film, and I can't wait to talk about it. But first, let me ask, does anyone know what a film noir actually is? What the definition of it is? I'll wait while you make a comment. Waiting. Okay, so I think that you have probably waited enough, and I can tell you what it is. So, a film noir is classified as a genre of film in which it's marked by like a particular mood, like pessimism, fatalism, you know, those darker parts of the human psyche, that kind of thing. So that is exactly what this film is, and I knew that going in. It was directed by Guillermo Del Toro, who also did Pan's Labyrinth, and which is one of my favorite films. He did The Shape of Water, which was also nominated and won an Oscar. It's starring Bradley Cooper and Rooney Mara and Cate Blanchett, and it has some incredible supporting performances by Willem Dafoe and Toni Collette, and Tim Blake Nelson is in this. Gosh, there's so many. Mary Steenburgen was in it. Who else is in it? Oh gosh, Richard Jenkins. He was so good. I'll talk about all that a little bit later. Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson's cameo. What is happening? So needless to say, it has some amazing talent, and they are not lacking on that front. It was written by Del Toro himself and also a woman named Kim Morgan. I'd never really heard of her before, so obviously I looked her up on IMDb, and this is her first big credit. And what a debut, man. Congrats. This screenplay was based upon a novel which was written in 1947 by William Lindsay Gresham, and that was banned in so many different places because of the themes and stuff. I mean, why at that time? If they're banning books now, then I can't imagine like what they were banning at that time, because it was a lot more prudish. I don't know if that's the correct word, but you know, something like that. I personally love period films, just in general, but especially for film noirs and crime thrillers in particular. I think that it's easy to use technology as a scapegoat when you can't figure out how some of your characters want to solve something, for example. And it's super, super easy to use technology as a scapegoat for that. And I'm so glad they weren't able to do that for this film, because it makes it so much more interesting. Yay! Also, I was listening to this interview with Del Toro about the influences, the visual influences that he used when making this film, how they were influenced by things that happened in his real life. And visual spoilers. Nothing that I'm going to say right now is actually going to spoil anything. It just will show like themes and have some visceral reactions that you might have had in the film, you might not have, because now you know that they're coming. So that's the only spoiler that it really is. So when they're going through the carnival, as they're like doing some of the acts and stuff like that, he said one of the things that was inspired was something that he saw when he was a kid that was kind of simultaneously enthralling as well as frightening, was the lady that had the spider legs coming out. It's like little spider legs happening, and as an adult you can very obviously see the hole cut out in the big wooden slat with the feet affixed to that, and that's, or the not feet, I mean there's feet too, but like legs, the legs attached to that, and it's not scary or bothersome at all, but it's still like when you're a kid, it could be traumatic. I could see that. But the more traumatic thing that he said was also influenced by his experiences as a child or young adult was, he said that when he was living in the city, he was next to this hospital, there was a big pile of babies, and they were awaiting I guess autopsy or something like that, but he said that there was a pile of bodies and babies, and I was just astounded to hear that. Like, what would I do with that information had I seen it in real life? And maybe I probably would, as an artist, do the same thing that he's doing, is put it in a very dark thing. So yeah, that would be crazy. But anyhow, so that's where the babies that are in the bottles that have the V cut on them, where that stemmed from potentially. So that's just kind of a guess, but he was talking about that during the interview. So I'm assuming that might be wrong, and it might be a wrong assumption, but I don't know. If you want to hear something that creeped me out that I saw in a movie when I was a kid, stick around to the end, because I will tell you. And it's kind of ridiculous, but just go ahead and stick around and I'll let you know what that is. Babies aside, the most unsettling thing to me is the geek culture in the carnival life. And this is a real thing. You can Google it. I don't know if you want to go down that rabbit hole, but you know, you could. It's fine. So for example, they would take a homeless veteran or someone that was very likely living on the streets and was desperate, but oftentimes they had addictions like alcoholism or drug addictions or something like that. So they would take them and they would tempt them with alcohol or with drugs to do these horrific acts. Most of the time it included things like drinking blood or biting a chicken's head off or something like that. It was very, very vulgar, and it was very visceral reaction from the crowds because it was something that they could potentially be. It wasn't just like an oddity that was present in their lives that they could see once, and it was something that was haunting to them personally because they really self-identified that could be them. These practices were barbaric, and really all of those sideshows or freak shows as they were called were just exploitation of people with genetic abnormalities, and the whole thing is pretty terrible. And that's what this movie is kind of based around. Okay, so let's talk acting. Bradley Cooper was stellar in almost every aspect of the word. Like, I was so breathtakingly enraptured by his performance, and I really, really loved it. He's been doing some wonderful work lately, and honestly, like, it's amazing to see that growth. I thought his arc was a little bit predictable, but that has nothing to do with him. He brought a lot of life to this guy, and I was full of empathy with like an influx of other emotions and stuff like toward him and his character as he progressed throughout the film. So that's not only a credit to him, it's a credit to the directing as well. It was really, really fantastic. Rooney Mara is an incredibly gifted actor, and she's one of the co-stars of this film, and she's just lovely. I think that I've loved her ever since I saw her in the English version of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Because it's a film noir, I know that her character she has to represent good, and that's what she serves as. She's a representation of the good, and then, you know, there's the evil of what's going on in the carnival and all of that, all of these other circumstances. But she plays the role with such a depth and a lightness, and it was so wonderful to see it, because that's exactly what that character needed to be in regards to the film and the serving of the purpose of that character in the writing of it. Cate Blanchett is another actor that I generally really love. I just love her work as an actor, and she is genuinely incredible. I didn't actually love all of her character choices in this film, but you also can't deny that she's sexy and she's alluring and she's intelligent, and she brings a gravitas to the film and any role really that she does. And that's definitely prevalent in this film too. I would have either played or directed that character just a little bit differently. I'll think about that and get back to you on maybe what exactly I would have done. Willem Dafoe slays as per usual. He was fantastic. Richard Jenkins was incredible. Like, the depth that he brought to this character. I loved his version of crazy. I loved his vulnerability and his delusions on so many different levels, and how he treated other people. And oof, obviously I didn't love that he was psycho, but he did it in such a believable and an impactful way. Richard Jenkins, yeah, you were insanely good. Mary Steenburgen, what? She has like the sweetest, like most dainty voice, and her acting is so pure and so real, and it's so nuanced. I love it so much. I did kind of know that was going to happen in the film, and you'll know when you actually watch it yourself what I'm referring. But she was just so good. So good. And Tim Blake Nelson, yeah, also knew that one was coming. But damn. It was pretty divine. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, that was really good. Okay, the plot. Let's talk about writing, directing, plot, whatever. By now we all know what a film noir is, and we've discussed it, and we all know that they're likely not going to have a happy ending. That's just how film noirs are. I kind of guessed most, if not all, of what would be considered like a plot twist before they happened. Did you think the plot twists were predictable, or did you think that they were not? I'll give you one, for example, and it doesn't give anything away. Like the writing of the script, when they're talking about like, this is the right alcohol to give, and then this one is kind of poison. I don't know. It's just very on the nose, but I did still really enjoy the film, regardless of that fact, and regardless of me kind of knowing what was going to happen from the very beginning of the film. I don't know if it's because I've seen a lot of film noir, or I'm good at plot twists, or just in general I overanalyze and think so much. But I did still enjoy the film. I thought it was super well made. It's beautifully shot. It was so incredibly beautiful. And I hear they're actually they're going to be releasing a black and white version as well. So if you wanted to watch it in black and white and be really brought back into the 40s, well, maybe you won't, but who knows? So be sure to follow me on all the social things. I'm usually _Brandi Price at most things. If not, you can check out my link tree. It's like there's a little link listed like right here. So you can also join us on the Let's Talk Movies Facebook page, and we'll do movie quotes. People ask about movies. We talk, we do questions, and we do polls to see which movies I should review each week. It's like a bunch of different things, and it's fun. Like we have a good old time over on the Book of Faces. So thanks for sticking around to the end. I did promise you something, and I am going to deliver. So one of the movies that traumatized me when I was a kid was this cult horror classic film called Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I don't know if you guys remember this thing, but it like really creeped me out as a kid, because they like took humans and they wrapped them up into like these cotton candy blood popsicles, and then they would stick these straws in them, and then they would suck up the blood in like these giant straws, and they also like trapped them in these giant balloons. And I was so traumatized as a kid. Now you see kind of how ridiculous the whole thing is. But that's the movie that kind of freaked me out. And there are others. And in fact, my mom bought me this porcelain doll, which happened to be a clown not long after I saw this movie. And so like every night I would turn that little clown around so that its face would not be watching me as I slept. And I don't even know if my mom watched this, but I was like so traumatized by that silly little porcelain doll. And so in the mornings, like I would turn it back around so she wouldn't feel bad for getting it for me. It was so bad. Like I thought it was just going to like animate or something. Like if it could see me, it would come to life. Thanks, Chucky, for that one. Yeah, awesome. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of this crazy mug and my crazy talking and weird facial expressions. It'll be fun. Talk to you soon, you beautiful beatniks. Bye! And remember, be kind. Do something nice for someone today.